Aloha, it's Robert Stellick with Blue Planet Surf. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Kai Zen V2 paddle. This is my favorite paddle, our most high performance paddle. It has some really nice features. It's great for racing, but also a very efficient paddle for surfing and pretty much any kind of use. So I'm going to go over some of the features. This blade here is the 92-inch blade. For 2018, we also have an 82-inch blade available. So we have two different size options, depending what you prefer. It's actually exactly the same blade, just shrunk down a little bit in terms of overall size. So we didn't change the proportions otherwise. So the blade itself has some nice features. It has kind of a longer shaft here, and I don't know if you can see this, but it has like a real streamlined part here. So it's kind of wider this way and thinner this way. So what it does is, this is kind of where the air meets the water. It lets the water kind of slip by the shaft really smooth and efficiently. So, and that keeps air bubbles from forming. Basically, when you pull the blade through the water, it keeps air bubbles from forming and pulling down the blade, which makes the paddle slip. So we did a lot of underwater testing, and we noticed that on some paddles, especially ones that have like a rough edge here, when you pull it through the water, it creates bubbles and they get pulled down into the water, and then you have paddle slippage. So basically what you want is the paddle to just have a nice solid catch and get planted in the water, and then as you pull it through the water, it shouldn't really slip back, or it should slip back as little as possible. When you have a good efficient blade, you can actually use, and good technique, you can use a much smaller blade than you would think. A lot of times beginners want to use a really big blade, but then they only use like half of it. They only put like half of it in the water. But a bigger blade isn't necessarily better. It doesn't necessarily make you go faster or give you a better stroke. Actually, a lot of times a smaller blade will help you with better technique and will be more efficient. So that's why we made a size smaller also. The 92 is great, but if you're doing like really long paddles or endurance paddling, then I like the smaller 82 size inch blade. So some of the other features has like a little concave here in the tip, and also the pointy tip. So that the pointy tip is kind of to break the surface tension of the water. When you enter the water, this tip kind of enters the water really smoothly without creating a splash, basically, when you're sliding it into the water. And the way you want to think of it is putting the blade into a mailbox in the water. So you're sliding the blade into the mailbox really smoothly without splashing a lot, and this tip helps with breaking the surface tension. And you got a little concave that kind of grabs the water on the catch, which makes a really nice clean catch. And then as you pull in the power phase, it has this deep dihedral that keeps the power real smooth and steady without flutter. Like there's almost no side-to-side flutter when you pull the blade through the water. Sometimes if you have a blade that's really flat, the water kind of wants to wash back and forth. This blade kind of really makes it clear which way the blade wants to go, just straight back. So you can really pull on it without having any kind of flutter. So you can really relax your lower hand on the shaft. The sides have like an ABS edge. So the ABS is like a plastic material that's more resilient than the carbon fiber. So when you accidentally bang something or hit a rock or the reef, it's not going to splinter. Carbon tends to splinter, but the ABS is more resilient and stronger material. So it has like a nice thin, efficient edge that's also strong and splinter resistant. So those are some of the features on the blade. And the other thing you notice, it has some angle here, but then the tip, the angle of the tip is almost parallel with the angle of the shaft. So that makes the catch real smooth. And then, but still, when you get to end of your stroke, you're still pushing the water back. So it has an angle, but also has a nice catch angle on the catch. And the shaft is oval and tapered, so it has like a real nice oval shape, easy to hold, and it goes, from a smaller oval to a bigger oval. And there's a section here that's a parallel section up to this logo, and then up here also a parallel section up to this logo. So this shaft, you can cut it from the bottom from here to here, or you can cut it from the top from here to here. And usually we recommend cutting it from the bottom first, as much as, or just only from the bottom, because that way, like a taller paddler will have a relatively thicker shaft, more stiffness in the shaft. while a shorter paddle that cuts off a shorter paddler that cuts off more from the bottom will end up using the thinner part of the shaft and with more flex and a thinner for smaller hands also. So that's a nice feature to be able to cut it from the bottom. And we'll have another video that shows how to size it and glue it. These parts are all hot glued. One of the advantages of having a ferrule and a shaft that's oval shaped is that there's no twist. This paddle is not glued. I just put some tape on it, but this doesn't twist at all because of that oval shape. A round shaped paddle, if you don't glue it, it'll just twist, right? So, because of that fact that it doesn't twist, this paddle can be glued with hot glue. As long as it's done properly, it'll hold really well with hot glue. And the advantage of using hot glue is that you can take it apart anytime. If you want to resize anything, I like to hot glue the top and the bottom. If you want, you can put epoxy in the bottom. Definitely wouldn't do it on the top because one of the really nice features of this paddle is that the handle is extendable. So another really nice feature about this shaft is the Mano Grip. Mano is shark in Hawaiian, so it's kind of like shark skin, we like to think of it, but it has like these little micro grooves on it, and it keeps your paddle from sliding up and down in your hand. Like a lot of times when you have a slippery shaft, when you put your paddle in, it can slip down, your hand can slip down, up or down the shaft. This one gives it really nice traction up and down, but it doesn't rub your hand, so it doesn't give you blisters, but it still gives you really nice grip. So, and unlike wax that can melt off or rubs off in the wrong spot, and like I don't like using wax because after about an hour it's useless because it's all in the wrong place and you're just the spot where you want the grip, it's all slippery again. So the Mano Grip is a really nice feature of this shaft as well. So that's the next part I want to talk about on this paddle is the handle. And I'm going to peel off this electric tape so I can kind of demonstrate the handle. So the handle is oval shaped as well, and it has a really nice ergonomic handle grip. So we worked up for a long time to make this handle super efficient. Basically, it has a big area for your palm to push against. So that way, a lot of times with a smaller handle, I always got blisters in the palm of my hand. So when I did long paddles, so this one is designed to have a really nice, comfortable area for your palm, and then you can relax your fingers over the top. But basically, you're pushing with your palm, you're pushing down and forward with your palm. You're not really using your fingers a whole lot. You're relaxing your fingers, and this area here for your palm is really efficient. And then the oval shape lets it adjust up and down without twisting. So you don't have to worry about twisting it or even gluing it in crooked because it's automatically kind of in straight because of the oval shape of the ferrule and the shaft. So you can glue this. And if you use hot glue, you can just heat it up. If you want to try a different length, you can just make it a little bit shorter, make it a little bit longer. It has like you want to leave at least like 3 or 4 inches in the shaft, so you can adjust it basically like there's this much adjustability. So you have a lot of range of adjustability. So you can make it really short, make it really long, and try different lengths without having to have a joint or mechanical connection that can fail over time or adds weight and adds more bulk to the paddle itself. So this is a really nice advantage that I like, being able to just change your height with just a heat gun basically. Also makes it easy to take it apart if you want to travel or ship the paddle or whatever, or change out a part. It's very, very easy to take it apart and re-glue it. The model is called the Kaizen paddle. And Kai in Hawaiian is the ocean, and Zen, so it's a kind of the ocean Zen. So these symbols in Japanese stand for Kaizen, which is incremental improvement. If you know anything about Japanese management techniques, but it's like always improving, always making things better. So that's kind of our philosophy here at Blue Planet, is we're never happy with what we got. We always want to make it a little bit better. So the Kaizen, and it's not that it needs improvement, but we'll keep trying to make it better and better. Alex Nix is a paddle maker here in Hawaii, makes the native living customs paddles, and he helped me build the original prototype for this blade. So we kind of co-designed this together and built the original prototype. And it's also he was the first to make an oval tapered shaft that I know of, and so that we used some of his ideas in the shaft design, and then you know, he just helped me build this thing originally, so that's why his name is on there as well, Alex Nix. All right, so the maximum length you can make this paddle with the full extended handle and uncut shaft is about 92 inches. So that's pretty tall. I'm 6'2", and you know, so it's a pretty tall paddle when it's uncut. The weight is about 20 ounces, you know, without cutting anything off. Once you cut it off, it's going to be lighter. So it's not the lightest paddle on the market, but it is solid and strong, which to me is important. You don't want the paddle to break. Like if you're racing or surfing, strength is important too. So this paddle is built to take a beating too. So about 20 ounces and 92 inches is the maximum length. All right, thanks for watching. Aloha.
Aloha, this is Julie Kuo, Miss Hawaii USA 2017. Thank you so much for watching the Blue Planet Surf YouTube channel. We post a new video every single week, and we've got the coolest stand-up paddle videos from Hawaii. We've got the coolest stand-up paddle video. Are you still filming? We've got the coolest. Okay, I'm gonna just start again. We've got the coolest stand-up paddle videos from Hawaii, and we post a new video every single week. So please like and subscribe. Aloha.